Happy whatever you call this midwinter time. I don't care what, some holiday or something. We're just kind of loafing at home today, and I had a request, and I thought I would quickly indulge in that for just a little bit because it's fun. And oh man, this looks funny with that there off to the side. That's better. So we're just gonna talk a little bit about books and Christmas presents and things like that. So I got a request to talk about all this stuff that you see over here, all these books piled up that are often the backdrop for my videos. I don't want to talk about all of them. There's a lot of books. There's more right behind me, and it's kind of, that would get boring pretty fast. Although I know some of you people out there, you nerds, are the kind of people who go to parties and then look at the bookshelf and spend the entire party time browsing through the books. Yeah, I know you, because that's me too. Anyway, so I thought I'd do is just talk about the top row. That's enough, right? Yeah, let's go through that. So here's what we got. We got a pile of books up here. This is actually organized. I know it doesn't look like it, but this top shelf, those are books that I consult fairly often. Often they're associated with my classes. And there's a few that are there just for the fun of it. So let's start. First, let's remove the spider. Yeah, I've got a spider up there. And let's remove the pride flag, just temporarily. I'll put it back when we're done. Okay, let's get to, oh, good start right here. So these books happen to be what my wife got me for Christmas. So it's this Stardust series. So one of these is about evolution and the other is about the solar system. Why did she get those for me? Because, hey, this is the kind of thing I would read to my grandchildren. These are a little beyond the 2-year age range for my granddaughter, but hey, always push just a little bit beyond what they can handle. So that's one set of books. Then this one, this is, right side up, facing up. This is the textbook for my evolution course. So John Heron and Scott Freeman's Evolutionary Analysis. It's a really good detailed text. It covers things like population genetics. It's got a bit about epigenetics. It's got all that kind of stuff. This current thinking in evolutionary biology is right there. And then right next to it, this is totally appropriate, Wolpert's Principles of Development. When I teach the developmental biology course, which hasn't happened in a while, we've got other priorities because, you know, there's a core curriculum we have to teach, and this is one of those electives, and all too often I get bumped out of this to go teach genetics or cell biology or something. But it's a good book. Lots of good stuff in here. Then there's another course I occasionally teach, Ecological Developmental Biology. So this is Scott Gilbert's big book. It's also really good. I really like that. It gives a different perspective. You know, it's kind of a combination of these two plus ecology, which is kind of stuff that floats my boat. So yeah, those are big courses, big coursework books up there. Right next to those, this is just a historical thing. This is Journal of Comparative Neurology, volume 236, number 4 from June 22nd of 1985. And it just happens to be the first paper I ever published. So spinal motor neurons of the larval zebrafish. That's all. That's in here somewhere. There we are. I photographed those and I drew those, and, you know, okay. Yeah, I don't consult this every day. It's just, I don't want to lose it. It's kind of a nice memory. All right, and right next to that, every fall I teach cell biology. This is the cover of the book we use. So Essential Cell Biology by Alberts and a bunch of other people. It usually doesn't look this weird and funky. The most recent edition, for some reason, they went back to the 60s to illustrate the cover. The interior isn't anything like that, but you know, again, a good general text on cell biology, well worth reading. Okay, next to that, I also occasionally teach a course in cancer biology. So this is the book. If you want to learn about cancer and you want the most authoritative, comprehensive, kind of upper level sort of text on it, this is it. This is Biology of Cancer by Robert A. Weinberg. It's really more of a graduate level course, more of a graduate level textbook, but we've used it in our undergraduate courses just because our students are so smart, they can handle it. And if they're really into the cancer biology, and a lot of them are, a lot of the pre-meds are, this works out well. Okay. Oh, another blast from the past. Sometimes you just got to sit down and look at the pictures, right? So this is the deep. And, oh yeah, marine organisms all over the place. Lots of squid, lots of octopus. Isopods. Anyway, this is for recharging. You know, you're working hard. Got to take a moment. Got to look at something pretty. So you pull this down and come away all refreshed. Oh, then we get a couple of more technical books. Okay, I've talked about this one before. Homology, Genes, and Evolutionary Innovation. It's a recent text in Evo Devo, and it's really challenging, and it's got some good stuff in there. Homology is a big issue when you're talking about these things, so this is kind of contemporary thinking on the subject. A really good book for that. Also, and this is, okay, Günter Wagner's book, not exactly layperson reading. It's pretty heavy going at times. But this one, I love to point my students at. So this is Nick Lane's book, The Vital Question. He's got a couple books out now that are really excellent. He's one of these guys who's really pushing the metabolism first theory of cell origins. So if you want to talk about abiogenesis and the origin of life and all that kind of good stuff, you got to read Nick Lane, because he's talking about metabolism and where all that biochemistry comes from. So yeah, another goodie. Oh, and let's see. Stevens Gould's book on punctuated equilibrium. Also a great book. It's a weird book, though. This came out of his gigantic magnum opus that he wrote on his deathbed, you know, The Structure of Evolutionary Theory. And the structure book, oh, I'm not enthusiastic about. It kind of indulged Gould in the worst of Gould. And it's really long, and it tends to wind around in circles a lot. It's got some great ideas in it, but no, not good reading. Anyway, so the publishers did this little trick. There was a couple of chapters in there specifically on punctuated equilibrium. So they just ripped them out of The Structure of Evolutionary Theory and sold them independently. And these hang together pretty darn well. If you're interested in punctuated equilibrium, good book to read. It gives me the impression that he'd been working on this for a lot longer than the structure book. And so this was, Gould was probably intending to publish this, and then he started glopping on all this other material that surrounded it and ended up with an unreadable text. But this one, yeah, this is readable. You can handle this one. Okay. Yeah. Oh, again, upside down, backwards. This is the Counter-Creationism Handbook. It's really good for those of us who wrestle with creationists all the time. This was pulled out of the Talk Origins archive. It's a great reference book. It is organized in such a way that you can just search for the common claims of creationists and look them up. And there's a short, 1 or 2 paragraph summary of an answer for them with citations and all that good stuff. So this is a really useful tool when you're arguing with creationists. I really recommend it. Okay, what do we, oh, this one. No, I haven't finished this one yet. I'm working on this one. That's why it's on the top shelf, is I'm trying to get through this. The Misuse of Genetics and Genomics and Understanding Race. Yeah, racists love to abuse evolution. So this looks like a useful book. Like I say, I've only just begun it, so ask me later. It might be okay. We'll see. I've got several books on this subject because it's become quite current lately. All right, what else we got up here? Oh, we got some weird stuff. Oh yeah. Little ancient history here. There was a comic book called The Atheist. I have a copy here. Oh, somebody sent me some comics that are relevant to creationism and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see. Then we get into another little hobby here. I've been playing with photography recently. And so this is a book specifically on how to photograph the moon and other celestial bodies, which I have not been very successful at, because usually I focus on things that are much closer and right here in front of my face and that I can light up really well. And the moon is dark and distant, and it's a whole different kind of photography. But yeah, I've been exploring that a little bit. I should mention, along those same lines, my wife got me a Christmas present this year. Ooh. This is the Laowa 25 millimeter super macro 2.5 to 5x objective lens. And I'm eager to try this out. Probably take some pictures of spiders tomorrow. Sure, you can shoot the moon. This would be terrible, taking a photograph of the moon though. Now it's got a focal distance about this long, so it's not going to get you very far there. And it magnifies everything by a tremendous amount. So it'll be great for getting close-ups of spider faces. Not great for taking pictures of the moon, but hey, that's where my interest is. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh, this. Oh, what is it? Oh, thank you card. Don't need that. This is something I was sent that I haven't yet used. I've got a small collection of notebooks that I use in the lab. And this is just a nice lined notebook with some magnificent fabric stitched covers. Okay, yeah, I'll get around to using this eventually once I fill up the other one. Yeah, I've got another one that's covered with Cyrillic. It's the Soviet space program that my daughter picked up for me in Russia, and that's the notebook I'm filling up right now. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, another light effort here. It's not one I use a lot, I'll admit it, but I just happen to stuff it up there. Yeah, The Non-Adventures of Wonderella. It's funny, it's cynical, it's sarcastic. That's my kind of humor. So that's sitting up here. These here are just programs for a couple of developmental biology meetings, the zebrafish meetings, the last ones I went to. Another useful reference book, Darwin's Universe from A to Z, Richard Milner. Yeah, that's just got a lot of historical information on the evolution of evolution. Let's see. Essentials of Genetics, another genetic text. This is one I use to kind of pull out problems, novel problems to throw at my students when I'm teaching genetics. And let's see. Last up. Oh, this is kind of a treasure. It's an old biology textbook, a high school biology textbook. And it is the funkiest biology textbook ever written. Let me see. You know how I mentioned like Essentials of Cell Biology that came out? It's got this psychedelic cover. All the illustrations in this book are straight out of the 1960s. And they get kind of wild and it's very colorful. Somebody was doing good drugs when they put this one together. So very, very 60s artsy sort of book. And I mainly use this one because, sometimes you need an illustration. And modern textbooks, the illustrations are just, they're very flat and they're informative, but they've forgotten the art business. So, stuff like this. That's just weird. But I kind of like to throw a little weirdness into my classes. So anyway, it's called Biology Today. Who's it by? I should look and see who it's by. I think this came out in the 1960s when they were making that big push for incorporating more biology, more science into public school classrooms. And so they came out with this. Where is the title page? There's got to be a title page. Oh, that's interesting. Usually textbooks nowadays, when you crack them open, they got the title of the textbook, and then they got a couple of authors that are primarily editors for the thing. This one doesn't list any authors. Instead, we got a long list of consultants, but it doesn't say who's the primary author. How interesting. Oh, well, it's mainly the artwork that I love in this book. Oh, and then there's one more thing up there. There's a notebook, and I won't say much about that. It's a collection of laboratory exercises for cell biology, so it's kind of a reference for when I'm putting together new labs for my classes. Okay. Well, was that fun? Yeah, it was. It's Christmas. I've been goofing off all day. Thought I'd throw this together and see if maybe some other day I'll talk about some of the others up here. But this top row I use fairly frequently, mostly. You saw a few other fun things in there, but yeah, because I tell you, I am constantly pulling down text to develop new lectures to go through. And I've also in my office back at work, I've got a whole gigantic shelf, much larger than this, that's just full of various publishers' textbooks. Because one of the things you can do as a biology professor is you can just write to somebody and say, hey, I'm teaching this course with 120 students every year, and we're kind of evaluating textbooks. Can you send me a copy of your textbook, and I'll take a look at it and see if it's appropriate for us. That happens all the time. And we have shifted a few times. It's not like I'm just bilking them out of their textbooks. They send the books. We look through them. That's how we picked, the Essential Cell Biology for our course this year is going through the collection and see what looks good and being impressed with that one. And then the other ones go on the shelf, and I still consult them when I'm putting together lectures for class. Okay. Like my sweater. Very Christmassy. Spiders. Christmas hat. Must be the holiday season. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop there. I'll let you go. Tomorrow at noon, noon my time, that's Central Time, I'm going to have a discussion here on YouTube about the last Evo Devo video I did. So you can read some paper. The paper there, I've already posted the paper. We're just going to talk about genetic screens. Yeah, like the big Heidelberg screen that produced so many marvelous fly mutants. That'll be the main topic tomorrow. Also, next week, we're going to be talking about something completely different. I'm going to be talking about a paper from Neil Shubin. You've heard of him, right? Tiktaalik, all that stuff. Except I'm not going to talk about Tiktaalik. I'm not going to talk about his paleontology stuff at all. He had a life outside of paleontology, and there's a really enjoyable paper that we'll talk about on Wednesday, and once again, not on Friday next week, because there's that stupid New Year's thing. We'll do it the next Saturday. All right. Well, go take it easy. Have some eggnog, have some wine, whatever you do on Christmas night. And we'll see you tomorrow maybe, and next week, and I'll be here over and over again. You're going to get tired of me soon, aren't you? Okay. Good night.